Sir Ansbach is one of the first NPCs you'll meet as you enter the Realm of Shadow, and his quest will span the entirety of the DLC. In this video, we'll give you a step-by-step guide on how to acquire Sir Ansbach's entire armor set, weapon, and Ash of War. Just note that this video will not serve as a full walkthrough for Shadow of the Erdtree, only the major steps needed for Sir Ansbach's quest, so we'll be skipping any unnecessary bosses and doing a few time jumps along the way. Ansbach's quest begins with Redmane Freyja. Freyja can be found at the Three-Path Cross Site of Grace. Talking to her isn't completely necessary right now, but it will be in a bit, so you might as well chat with her and exhaust all of her dialogue since we're passing by. Next, head to the main gate cross. You'll find Ansbach here. Chat with him about Miquella's crosses and exhaust all of his dialogue until he starts repeating himself. If you want to get some extra non-essential dialogue from Ansbach, talk to him after finding and interacting with Miquella's crosses in Belurat, Castle Ensis, and the Cerulean Coast. From here, you'll need to progress quite a ways through Shadow of the Erdtree, or if you're just here to do Ansbach's quest, we can speed things up. The normal route from meeting Ansbach will be to travel and conquer Belurat and the Divine Beast. This actually isn't required, so we'll skip it. Next would be Castle Ensis and Rellana. Again, this isn't required, so we'll instead travel around Castle Ensis through the Fort of Reprimand. Here's a quick reminder on how to do this. From the castle front Site of Grace, head east and then south down the path, making your way down the rocks and then traveling down the river until you reach this Spirit Spring seal. Destroy it and jump up the 2 Spirit Springs and arrive at the Fort of Reprimand. Make your way through the fort north and arrive in Shadow Altus. This is just a suggestion, however. If you plan to play through the DLC how it's intended, then return to this video once you've conquered Rellana. It's time to head to Shadow Keep, but make sure to make a quick pit stop at the High Road Cross, which is where Leda is currently positioned at. You don't need to talk to her if you don't want to, but activate the Site of Grace as we'll be returning here in just a moment. From here, you're now free to approach Shadow Keep. Upon arriving at Shadow Keep, you'll hear a sound cue and receive a notification saying that Miquella's rune has been broken. Continue into Shadow Keep, ride the elevator up, and activate the Shadow Keep main gate. We'll need to return here in just a moment. Now that the spell is broken, it's time to return to Freyja at the Three-Path Cross and chat with her. She'll tell you that she's leaving, which is what we need her to do. Ask her, what do you intend to look into? Keep talking to her, and then ask, what if you become our enemy? Once her dialogue starts repeating, leave her and travel to the main gate cross to chat with Ansbach. Here, you'll just exhaust his dialogue. After chatting with them, teleport to the High Road Cross to find Leda. At this point, she will begin to suspect that members of her group may no longer be loyal to Miquella. This includes Ansbach, but will first need to point the finger at Hornsent when she asks who she should look into. She will do this even if you don't give her a target. Walk over and talk to Hornsent, who will talk about setting off to kill Mesmer. Rest at the Site of Grace to reset the world, and Hornsent will disappear. Talk to Leda once more, and she'll talk about going after Hornsent. While it may seem like we're progressing Leda or Hornsent's quests as opposing to just focusing on Ansbach, this is all necessary to receive Ansbach's bow. Teleport back to Shadow Keep's main gate. From here, we'll need to fight the Golden Hippo boss. You can summon Hornsent to help you with this fight, but again, this doesn't affect Ansbach's quest. Defeat the Hippo and make your way through Shadow Keep until you arrive at the Specimen Storehouse first floor Site of Grace. Just outside the drawbridge to the Specimen Storehouse, up the ramp from the main gate, you can find 2 summon signs. The red one will help out Leda and kill Hornsent. This means he won't be around later on, so if you want to bypass this, ignore the summon signs and help Hornsent defeat Mesmer. This will cause him to slip out of Leda's ambush and allow her to focus on Ansbach instead. Alright, now it's time to navigate the winding halls of Shadowkeep's Specimen Storehouse. Our goal from here is to find the secret Rite scroll. To do that, it'll take some running, so follow my exact path in the video. Pause here for a moment to activate the 4th floor Storehouse Site of Grace. This will act as a checkpoint, but let's continue running to find the scroll. Avoid or defeat the Fire Knight. Drop down the stairs and run around the bookshelf on the right to grab the secret Rite scroll. Now it's time to continue through the Specimen Storehouse. This time our goal is to make it to the 7th floor to find Freyja. Again, follow my path, conserving stamina where you can. This is the 7th floor Site of Grace. Rest here to reset the world, getting any baddies off your back, and then talk to Freyja. She'll tell you that she's busy, but that she regrets not getting knowledge from Ansbach when she had the chance. And now it's time for the teleporting part of the walkthrough. After speaking with Freyja, teleport back to the 1st floor. We'll now need to find Ansbach. Luckily, he's nearby, so follow my exact path to find him in a library. Talk to him until you get the dialogue option to tell him about Freyja.
It appears he's been taken. Surely you, after failing, I'd do anything. What could the implicate? Freyja, but she must be a true.
Once that talk is done, speak to him again to hand over the secret Rite scroll. After getting through both options, talk to him again to exhaust his dialogue. Once he starts repeating himself, it's time to leave. But to where? Well, back to Ansbach. We need to teleport back to the 1st floor Site of Grace to reset the world, and then run right back to him to chat with him again. This time, he'll hand you a letter to give to Freyja. Talk to him to exhaust his dialogue. Teleport back to the 7th floor and return to Freyja. After chatting with her and giving her the letter, exhaust her dialogue. She'll give you the Golden Lion shield and tell you to give her best to Ansbach. You guessed it. Let's return to the 1st floor and run back to Ansbach to deliver the message. Exhaust his dialogue once more. At this point, you should be done with this section, but it never hurts to be sure. For the final time, teleport back to the 1st floor and run back to Ansbach. If he's gone, you've done it correctly. Now teleport to the 7th floor to discover that Freyja is gone as well. You could also just check the map and see that their NPC icons are now missing. This is the point where Leda's questline intersects with Ansbach. If you want to get Ansbach's Longbow, you'll need to do one of the 2 following things. Either return to the summoning signs by the main gate of Shadow Keep and help Leda kill Hornsent, or go kill Mesmer with Hornsent's help. The idea here is that we need to progress Hornsent's quest one way or another in order to make it where Leda wants to now kill Ansbach. And since you'll need to kill Mesmer anyways, we might as well do it now with Hornsent at your side. Unlike a few others, however, Hornsent's summoning side is inside Mesmer's arena, so you'll need to summon him while Mesmer is already in action. Once Mesmer is down, return to Leda at High Road Cross. She'll absolve Hornsent, saying that he'll go mad and probably die soon anyways.
The Hornsent is no longer a mortal danger.
Exhaust that bit of dialogue, rest at the nearby site of grace to reset the world, and then chat with her again. It's here where she'll declare that Ansbach is next on her list.
I'm afraid Sir Ansbach will have to be next.
Teleport back to the first floor of the Specimen Storehouse. If all of that is done correctly, when you next check the room where Ansbach was, you'll find 2 summoning signs instead. Use the gold sign to help Ansbach defend himself against Leda. As a reward, you'll get Ansbach's Longbow, as well as Leda's Rune after she retreats. Note that if you kill Ansbach here, his questline will end early and you'll miss out on the rest of his story, gear set, and weapon. Okay, it's time for another time jump. This is a big one. So let's say you already defeated Mesmer, because, I mean, let's be honest, I just told you to do that. You'll then leave Shadow Keep and make your way through the Rao ruins. Defeat Romina, Saint of the Bud, burn the Sealing Tree using Mesmer's flame, and then arrive at Enir-Ilim, the final legacy dungeon. Make your way through Enir-Ilim, and right before the final boss, you'll find yourself in a giant room of sand. From this point on in the video, there will be major spoilers for Shadow of the Erdtree's ending. This room of sand is where a giant battle between a bunch of the DLC's NPCs will take place. Assuming you've only done Ansbach's quest, you'll at least have him to fight alongside you. Find his gold summoning sign in the middle of the room and summon him to battle. It says he will show up when he's needed, which will be towards the end of the fight. Win the big fight with Ansbach by your side, and then continue through the last bit of Enir-Ilim to reach the final boss, Radahn. On the right side of the boss door, you'll once again spot Ansbach's summoning sign. Summon him and enter the battle. He'll have words for Radahn that you'll get to hear, signaling that we are approaching the end of his story.
General Radahn, pleasure to see you.
After defeating Radahn, Ansbach will disappear. Rest at the site of grace, and near the exit of the boss door will be Ansbach's remains. If they aren't there, then trigger the DLC's ending, and then they'll be there when you come out of the cutscene. And that's it! Loot Ansbach's remains, and you'll get his full gear set, his weapon, and his Ash of War. Congratulations, you've now completed Ansbach's quest. If you need more quest guides, be sure to check out our extensive Shadow of the Erdtree wiki over on IGN.com. And of course, for everything else video games, stick with IGN.